Hello guys, I'm Bruno Garcia. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Many of you send messages for me asking to record some videos in English and how to use or how to configure the Nokia OLTs. So this is will be my first video in English, and there is no script. I will try to do my best here. Okay, so I have here an OLT that is for the default configuration. Okay, we only take it out of the box, energized, and that's it. Okay, so first thing first, what we need to know is that for default, all the OLTs or all the Nokia OLTs, it's everything is shut down. Okay, what I mean with that is there's no IP default IP address for the first access. There is no ports that is enabled for the first access. Everything is shut down. All right. So the only way that we have to access for the first time the equipment is using the craft cable or the console cable. All right. And if you purchase the OLT and didn't come with the craft cable, you can pause the video right now. Let me zoom a little bit. And this is the pattern of the craft cable that you can build this cable to access the equipment for the first time. Okay, this is not like is not a Cisco pattern for the craft cable. Is a little bit of different. So maybe you have to build this cable to access the equipment for the first time. All right. So if you want to, you can pause the video right now and maybe build the cable if it didn't come with the equipment. All right. That said, when you have the craft cable or the console cable, we are gonna use the port called LRCT. All right, LRCT is our craft port, and you can plug the craft cable there, and this is the what you're gonna show when you access for the first time, right? So it's gonna show this symbol. You only press enter, and it will ask if you want to access the CLI or the TL1, right? The difference here is the most, or I said like 95% of the configuration on Nokia OLTs, it will be only on CLI, right? Is just different menus. CLI, there's some commands, and TL1, there's other completely different commands, right? We here in Brazil we use only this access to send some PPPoE username or PPPoE password, SSID or SSID passwords for the OINTs, all right? So to send some information inside of the ONU remotely, we only can use TL1. We can do this only through TL1. On CLI, we can only do the configuration, for example, provisioning the ONTs and things like that, configure the management IP, VLANs, profiles, and things like that. But we cannot send like the informations to inside of the ONTs from CLI. All right. So that's so we press C, enter, and it's gonna ask the login. The default login is IS admin, all right, IS admin. And the password here, only for the first time, the password that it's gonna, we have to enter is this password, all right? Only for the first time. It's I dollar at MAD dash, all right? Repeating, I dollar at MAD dash. This is the default password for the first time. So I just paste the password here. And he said, welcome to resume, things like that. Your password expired. So now you can enter with the new password. You can put the password, whatever you you want to do. But if you want to put the Nokia, the full password, usually it's ANS hashtag 150, right? So this is the what we usually do as Nokia the full password. So I will copy this, paste here. He's asking to re-enter the same password, the new password. I just paste, right click, and that's it. So now we are inside of the equipment and we are ready to configure everything. All right, so as I already said before, all the ports, everything is shut down. So the first thing that we need to do here is to enable the ports. So if we are gonna use the optical ports, if you're gonna use the electrical port called FUI4, that's 1 gigabit you can use for 1 gigabits for to uplink, or if you're gonna use the optical using SFPs and things like that. So the first thing is to enable these ports. All right. So the command of that is port, configure port, and we are gonna set where is this port. Okay. So before I do that, let me show you something. If I do show equipment slot, I have here this command will list all the boards that it's plugged in on the equipment, right? So we have NT-A or NT-B. This is gonna be the management board, as we said, not only for the uplink, but all the intelligence of the equipment, it's inside of this board. All right. So we have the vent F here, and it's already enabled, no error available, everything is fine. So this is the slot NT-A, right? We have also the GPON board here, that it's on this slot that right now it's 5, but actually it's in the slot 1. We can change this in a few minutes, but this is the model FGLTB. So you can see enable no, because everything for default it's shut down, right? So we're gonna enable the uplink ports on the management board, and to do this, configure port nt-a dot xfp. For example, this is for the optical ports. So XFP1, I will enable the first one, okay? And I have on this port SFP of 1 gigabits, all right? 1 gigabits per second. Usually the default is 10 gigabits per second, but I have here in this case 1 gigabit per second. So I have to force the speed here, Ethernet speed. I will put 1000, all right, for the 1 gigabit per second, and configure port NTA XFP1 no shutdown, right? So that's it. Pretty much only these two commands, and you can enable the optical port. And how can I check if the port is enabled or not? I can do a show port, and I'm gonna show all the ports here. Or I can do the same command, but only for this port. So for example, show port NTA XFP1, and I can see all the information is only for this port. Okay, so as I can see, the admin state is up, but the operational state is down. So, and the configure speed is 1 gigabit per second, and that's it. So let me do the same thing, but for the port 2, and the port 2 also it has SFP of 1 gigabit, so Ethernet speed 1000, and also put on configure port CP2 no shutdown, right? So that's it. I just enabled the port 1 and the port 2, the optical ports, right? And I fixed it, the speed for 1 gigabit per second because my SFP that I using on this case, it's 1 gigabit per second. But usually the full speed is 10 gigabits per second. All right. So now I can do the show port again just to confirm. And as you can see, right now, I have both of the ports, and why, maybe you are asking, because I have a loop here. It's just for the lab environment. So I have a loop here just to show how to enable these ports. So right now you can see the admin state is up, the port state is up. So we have uh, everything working fine. So there's communication between these two ports. All right. And let me enable the electrical port also, that it's Ethernet port 1 and no shutdown only because it's 1 gigabit per second of speed. So, and oh, what happened? Configure port. So as yeah, there's this symbol that caused the error. So right now it's fine. As I said before, this is a free video, free ski. There's no scripted, so I try to do my best here. Okay. Yeah. So that's it. Now I have the electrical port also enabled, and I can use whatever port that I want to be the uplink port, passing the VLANs and things like that. All right. Okay, so I enabled the ports. So now I have some signal for the uplink ports. As I can see here, right now I have to configure the GPON port. If you are close to the equipment right now, all the GPON ports, all the PON ports, it's shut down. There is no light. Everything it's disabled. So we are gonna enable these ports. All right. So to do this, it's very easy. Configure equipment slot, and I have to say which slot I want to configure it. So at T1/1. Only for the record, these two parameters here never change, okay? Never change. It's because of the legacy of the Alcatel Lucent, and this is like the hack. This one, it means the hack. This second one, it means the sub hack or the shelf. And this third one, it means the slot of the service, okay? So keep in mind that these two parameters never change. Everything that you have to configure on the inside of this board, it will be 1/1. Okay. Have five. Planted type, and I put the model of the board. So my model here is this FGLTB, but maybe you guys are using different models, so you put the model that it's showing on this command. If you have a board that is not showing on this command, maybe this board it's not working so well. So maybe you can consider to change this board for the new one. Okay, so FGLTB and unlock. That's it. I just provisioned the board on this slot. If I show equipment slot again. So right now we have this board enable, no error available. All right. But if you are close to the equipment, you can see that the PON port is still disabled. There's no lighting, there's no signal that everything is up. That's because the PON port is shut down. So right now we have to enable the PON ports. So to do this is configure PON interface 1/1. Remember that this never changed, and this one is the LT slot number. All right. So as we can see, is the slot 5. And right now I have to put the PON ports, the range of PON ports. I can enable one by one, like the PON 1, PON 2, PON 3, and so on. But I prefer to take the range and do all the same time. So I just put here 1 dot 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 16 because this board has 16 PON ports. All right. So I close and just admin state up. And that's it. Right now, if you are close to the equipment, you can see all the LEDs lights turning on, and you can see that right now, if you plug some ONTs, as you can see right now, all the ONTs that I have plugged, it's gonna start to identify. All right. So right now we have optical signal being transmitted on the PON ports. So this is pretty much the first things first that we need to do, right? The second thing, I hope this video didn't take too long. I think the next thing to do is configure the management, the IP management and things like that. So it's configure service IES, and I can put whatever number I want here. Just I can put this is the range of these services. So just be in mind that you have to put a different number of the VLANs here, because if you put the same, for example, if I put VLAN 10 and I will use this VLAN 10 for PPPoE, for example, it is gonna be it will have a conflict of service. Okay, so I recommended to put this number after the VLAN range, that it's 4096 or 4094. Usually I put 500 or 600 or whatever you want, right? So this is just a number to identify the service. There's no actually VLAN that you have to configure here. No, it's just to identify the services inside of the OLT, right? So customer one. After, as you can see on the menu tree here, I'm inside of this IES. Right now I will configure the interface, and I can create how many interfaces I want. If I want to management inbound, management outbound, I can create a lot of interfaces inside of the IES, but the IES is only one, right? In this case is the 6000, all right? So interface, I have to say some name, I have to give some name to this interface. So I can put like management, for example, and I create the interface. As you can see, I'm inside of this interface. And right now I have to add my IP address. And I already put here, this is my IP address. Oh, sorry. Okay, it will be my management IP address. And now I have to add my which service or which VLAN I'm gonna access this IP. All right, so SAP NT, because doesn't matter if it's the management board on slot A or B, it's the management board. VP the virtual port, all right? So I have one virtual port in each VLAN. And for this example, my management VLAN, it's 4093, all right? But you can put the management VLAN that you want. So 4093, all right. Now exit, and inside of IES, no shutdown, right? So the first steps for the management access is only this, all right? Now I have to create my VLAN, so I can do from here, configure service VPLS 4093 customer 1 V dash VPLS VLAN 4093, right? This is my management VLAN for this equipment. I can put a description here, for example, that it's management VLAN. And now I can put the ports that I will gonna use for access this OLT. So if I'm gonna use the optical port or the electrical port, doesn't matter. I just have to put here. One thing that you guys have to know that on Nokia OLTs, the way to think is kind of the opposite of the Cisco equipments. So, for example, on Cisco equipments, you have the ports. You go inside of the ports and you declare, okay, on this port, it's in trunk mode. I have the VLAN 10, 20, 30, and so on, things like that. So you have to go inside of the port and discriminate the VLANs that it will pass through this port, right? On Nokia OLTs is the opposite. You create the VLAN, and you add the ports, the physical ports inside of this VLAN. So it's the opposite. You create the VLAN and you add the physical ports. How many ports do you want? Doesn't matter. All right. So on this example, I will add the this SAP. It means Service Access Point, right? So I will add the electrical port, NTA, Ethernet 1. And now I have to say if I want to do this like tag mode or untagged mode. If I put 4093, that it is the VLAN of the management, um, all this traffic coming inside or outside of this equipment, it has to be tagged, all right? Has to be tagged. If I want like untagged mode, I just put 0, right? If I put 0 here, it's untagged mode, doesn't matter. Whatever traffic comes inside of this port, the OLT, it will reply and answer. For example, if you if you connect a PC on this port and you ping this IP, the OLT, it's gonna answer, right? So if I want to a tagged port, this is gonna be the configure that you have to put, right? So only if I try to ping using through this management VLAN, now the OLT is gonna answer, right? So for this example, I'm gonna put 0 because I want untagged mode on this port, and on the optical port, for example, I want tagged. So I can keep adding all the ports that I want for Z. And this one, it has to be tagged for the OLT answer because it's the uplink port, right? And now I'm inside of the VPLS. I just put no shutdown, and that's it. If I go here to the prompt and if I ping this IP, ping 10.100.3.2, yeah, it's not pinging, and you know why? Because it's missing the full gateway, right? So last step here to configure the management is the default gateway. So I can enter exit all to go to the first menu. And it's pretty easy to configure the default gateway. It's just configure router static out, and I put the default route here. Sorry about that. Let me see, 0.0.0/0 next hope, and let me take my IP here. Yeah, that's my default gate, and that's it. And I can test now if it's working. I can do a ping inside of the OLT. Now it's answering, it's pinging, and if I go here in the prompt and ping, now there we go. So right now we are able to access this OLT from the IP, the management IP, and outside of the network or inside of the network, whatever you want. This OLT now is in the network, all right? And that's it, pretty much. I have the VLANs here, for example, the PPPoE VLAN, it's the VLAN 200, and the ONT management VLAN, it's the 300. But this video kind of is too big, so I will cut this video, and it will have a second part, the part 2, right? So I hope you guys understand all the process. I hope this video helped you to access the Nokia OLT for the first time, and please check the part 2 next one. And if you are not subscribed on my channel, please subscribe on my YouTube channel. And if you have any questions, anything, please let the comments below, right? Thank you so much, and see you next time.